Hello, welcome to Market Production. My name is probably Danny, and I'm here to talk about Monday Night Raw. What a show we had! We had a huge return in the steel cage match. We had a couple of surprises throughout the show. A real all over the place sort of show. You know what I mean? And we're gonna talk about it. Just give me one moment, my dude, my dudes and dudettes. Just setting up some stuff and we're good to go. We are Gucci. We are great. We are supreme. We are superlatives. We're ready to go. So, Monday Night Raw. We're going to start with the main event because it was a steel cage match. 2 to 4 weeks in the making, depending on how you think about it. And a make do for the bullshit at Raw 30 where the women got their match cut so that DX can make their silly little jokes. Have an unannounced match with Street Profits and Seth versus Imperium, which, was super important compared to the Blood Feud cage match that was up. Whatever. We're not on that, but we end with the make do match to get to main event the show as a little treat, as a little, oh, we're sorry sort of move. And it is Bailey versus Rebecca Lynch, and this match was a lot of fun. It starts off with Bailey, trying to escape the cage early. She's very chicken shit heel in that regard, just doing her spots. And Becky had a nice spot early on where Bailey was climbing, and Becky just drop kicked the cage, which sounds silly and is silly, but makes sense in a way that only makes sense in wrestling. So, unique. I mean, it's probably done before, but I can't remember seeing that before. So, good shit. Very interesting. They move on. Bailey starts working the leg, which ties into some submissions that come on later in the match. There's a fun brawl where they're both in the corner on the ropes, smashing each other's heads into the gate, and then tossing. They took a lot of nasty falls off the rope, but not like bad fall, like intentionally sloppy looking falls. Like especially towards the middle of this match to really, uh, sell the brutality of it more or less. But towards the end of the match, um, the the Kai Pirates, if you will, or the Huggers, as we refer to them mostly on the channel, tried to interfere in the match. They tried to do what hench people do, and that is hench. And Dakota slips her crutch in. Io just blatantly climbs the side of the cage and pushes Becky back in the ring. They hit Becky with the crutch, and all hope seems to be lost when whose music hits but Lita. Lita is back, and she is here to help Becky, who last time she was there was fighting Becky for the title in Saudi Arabia. Weird times we live in. Oh boy. Lita comes in and just, oof, man, there was a "You Still Got It" chant earlier in the night. Not right here, because she she might not still have it. I don't want to be the guy to say that, because I'm like a Lita guy over a Trish guy. But oh boy, oh boy, did she not look to quote unquote have it. But she negated the interference of damage control and allowed Becky to pick up the win over Bailey. And now, interesting. This is a weird place for the women's division to be in right now because I don't know where they're gonna go next because the Elimination Chamber is coming up and all the spots are filled in the chamber. So neither of these women are going to be in it. And there's a whole nother tangent that me and Rev just went on this very podcast 5 days ago, maybe, about how, Charlotte is a ruiner of things and has ruined a lot of plans or potential plans, including the Raw Women's Division, which we'll get onto later. But neither of these two women are going to be in the chamber. And this seemed to be some sort of end to this feud. It might just be a chapter of this feud closing because who else are these two going to feud with going into Mania besides each other? Rhea's gone, so all those stare downs with Becky are seemingly never going to pay off, or at least not until the summer. Sasha doesn't work there. Asuka might win the chamber, and even then, they had so many matches. I don't want another one just yet between them. As great as Becky and Asuka have been, but then even if they do have a singles match, does who does Bailey fight? You know, like there's a lot of questions coming out of this for me. Do we have Becky and Lita go for the tag titles instead of that nonsense plan we hear about Ronda and Shayna? Or maybe I mean, it's the women's tag title. You know, it's going to be a multi-team match, and that'd be really sad if like Ronda and Becky are in a tag match instead of having. Well, maybe they still have their singles match, and maybe Bailey has a singles match with Lita, or who knows? There's a lot that could come from this. It feels weird because they're just the two biggest women in the division that aren't Bianca. I mean, I think Becky's bigger than Bianca, but like, you know what I mean? And they're not going to be in the chamber match to determine the number one contender. And even if they weren't going to win, it would be weird that they're not in it. And instead, you have people like Natalia, you know? You know what I mean, Chad? Chad? You know what I mean? Chad and Chads of the world. But we'll see. That's the interesting thing. But this was a fun match. It had some decent action, a very bad looking belly to belly from the ropes. But that just made it look kind of brutal, in my opinion. It was very sloppy though. It was not they definitely wanted that to look prettier than it did. But sometimes in matches like this, you can have unpretty moves and it works because it makes it look more sometimes sloppiness works in favor of the match. And a spot like that not going smoothly and being crisp isn't always a bad thing, but didn't look fun to take for either of them. A lot of leg drops because Becky likes to throw a lot of leg drops. Stop doing that. You know, I feel like if there's one and only one lesson to learn from Hulk Hogan, it's to maybe don't do leg drops. You know, that's the only lesson I can think of. Right, Chad? Right, Chads. Anyway, yeah, a lot of good stuff. It's always nice to see Lita, even if she didn't do too great. You know, you still got that pop, and the crowd bought into it. The crowd was real up and down throughout the night. A lot of piped in noise, which you could understand because the crowd fucking was pretty dead for a good portion of this. But they popped for Becky and Bailey. They popped for the match. They popped for Lita. Good, good ending to a solid show. You know, very, very fun. Any questions, comments, concerns, points of view, or otherwise? Where do you see Bailey and Becky going from here? Does this feud continue? Because who else are they going to feud with? Do they go their separate ways? Do Becky and Lita team up? Does Bailey feud with Lita? And where does that leave Becky? There's so many questions. Not all bad, just some interesting right now. Like we're not even at Elimination Chamber yet, so there's plenty of time. But it's just very interesting. A lot of paths are starting to become clear for people, and with these two, it's not so clear at the moment. So that's kind of interesting. But we'll go to the top of the show. I'm gonna take a sip of water actually. If you guys don't mind, don't care if you do. I swear it's water. I swear. The show starts off with Edge and his wife, Beth Phoenix, who I think is stronger than him. I don't think that's a ballsy thing for me to say. I think it's just an observation. You know, Beth Phoenix is jacked. Like, holy shit. She's always been, but like now especially. Oh my God. Anyway, they got a promo. The crowd's kind of dead, surprisingly. Edge usually has the crowd, even the casual, lame, sit and duck crowds, pretty amped up. But past the entrance, not so much. Judgment Day comes out, and they promo back at him. And Finn and Dom are just so great at this role. And Priest is fine too, but Priest is showing his value in other ways. They come out without Rhea, unfortunately. That's the only bad part about Rhea winning the Rumble is that they're probably going to have her in these Judgment Day segments a little bit less, which is just dumb because there's no reason she shouldn't be involved. I assume the Rhea Charlotte bill is going to be terrible because, you know, Charlotte, but you could at least have her beat up Dom a few times along the way, But Dom and Finn are great here. Finn just says like Finn speaks like English is his second language, but in a very cartoonish, purposely bad way. Like is English his second language? I don't think it is, but he says some things that are so silly but fun. He's really great at this goofy heel. I don't know. He's really nailing this, in my opinion. There's a cat meowing outside my door, but there's no one else in the pod to throw to, so I can't let her in. I'm sorry, Betsy. But yeah, they get into a brawl. It's fun. Dawkins comes out to make the save because he's fighting Priest in a qualifying match for Elimination Chamber. And Beth hits a glam slam on Tom, which gets a great pop from the crowd because, it's not. And be 100% honest, with with weapons and with Beth having one arm tied behind her back, I still think she would kick Dom's ass. She's that jacked. Like, we could run through the show and talk about how Beth is more jacked than like 90% of the people that are on the show. So Dawkins took on Priest, and even though they're both bigger than her mass wise, uh, I feel like she can keep up with Dawkins. Dawkins has gotten in great shape lately, probably because he's like, oh fuck, I gotta try to catch up to Beth Phoenix. Uh, and Priest is a fucking big ass dude. That's just genetics. But they have a match. I assumed Priest was gonna win it. In fact, that was what my note said before the match even really started. Decent match. Dawkins hit a swanton bomb. It's better than Jeff Hardy has hit in the past 8 years. Am I right, James? Am I right, James? And Chads of the world. But it was all right. Fun match, or not really super fun, but it was decent. Dawkins, I put a lot into this match, knowing that it was one of the few times he gets to showcase his ability. I wasn't as good as his match with Seth Rollins a couple months ago, but you could say that about anyone who wrestled Seth Rollins a couple months ago. That whatever match they just had is probably not going to be as good. But fun stuff. Priest in the Chamber is going to be a lot of fun. He proved after that Iron Man match that he is willing to go the distance in matches and can be a crucial linchpin of having a good long match. Uh, Jeff Hardy doesn't hit swanton bombs these days. He takes other things. Like what? Swanton bongs? I don't know. I feel like he'd be a little more chill if he was hitting the bong. Swanton bump. He took swanton bumps, that's for sure. Just the type of bumps. We'll see. Yeah, but I'm saying that jokingly. Dawkins, he hit the safest swanton bomb you've ever seen. Like, I never knew how wrestlers make swanton safe until I saw Dawkins do it just now. And I'm like, oh, okay. He's making that safe. I don't know if you guys can hear my cat meowing outside, but it's very loud to me. Who returned? Kevin Lita returned. Gave Becky Lynch the assist in the cage match that main evented the show. She ran interference, beat up damage control, and it was fun. She was terrible. Like, she botched almost everything about it, but like it was a fun moment, you know. Uh, what do they have? What do Becky Lynch and Lita have in common besides kind of, but not really, hair color and taste in music? I guess that's it. Um, yeah, it was decent. It was a fun surprise. Becky got a promo earlier, said she had something up her sleeve just in case there was still issues with damage control. And it turns out it was Lita, It was Lita that she had up her sleeve. But Maximum Male Models are backstage talking to Adam Pearce because they're Raw for some reason. And you know what? I don't give a fuck about this group, but I do care about them trying to scout Otis because that's going to be funny and there's going to be some good stuff because Otis is great. I agree. The show was good overall. But they were interrupted by Chelsea Green or Karen Green, however you want to call her, who just wanted to speak to the manager and wanted to wrestle because her family's in the crowd and she should be in the Elimination Chamber, blah, blah, blah. And she expects an opponent later. And I thought that would have been a fun time to have uh, Beth Phoenix just be like, yeah, I have a warm up match and just squash her in like 2 seconds to show some dominance and get a win going into the mixed tag match of the Chamber, which by the way, I forgot to mention, they announced that would be a mixed tag match. It's going to be Finn and Rhea versus Edge and Beth. It would have been funnier if it was Dom and Rhea, but then you'd have to work a lot harder to have the heels win there because Dom is so wonderfully bad. But yeah, Chelsea Green, someone who's not as brolic as Beth Phoenix, as we stated earlier. Adam Pearce, someone who's not as brolic as Beth Phoenix. Mansoor, as he's known now, not as brolic as Beth Phoenix. Massey, maybe more brolic than Beth Phoenix. We gotta have them have a pose down. You know, we'll get to the bottom of that. But oh man, Corbin, Baron Corbin, that is, formerly Happy Corbin, modern day wrestling deity Baron Corbin took on Dexter Lumis in a match of people who are so stale and one note and so poor mid card in a very boring match. Loomis won. I don't care. You don't care. In fact, you're probably like, oh God, I don't even want to hear about Raw anymore after that. And I understand, but please stick around for another moment or two, if you will. So yeah, Dexter won, inconsequential. His finisher, when it's not a submission, is the side effect, which, you know, not to bring up the Hardys again, but it's just weird for that to be a finisher, you know. Although, on the note of side effects, guys, remember that there are side effects to, you know, pills and alcohol and things of that nature. So just always keep in mind the side effects of it all, you know? Which name do you love, Kevin? Is it one of Baron Corbin's names I threw out or Dexter Lumis? But yeah, Becky had the promo I alluded to earlier, talking about 10 years in the making. They met each other in Orlando in NXT. Bayley was a sweet girl, but she would cling on to people who she thought were her meal ticket to the top, which is a funny way of alluding to Sasha Banks, you know, without mentioning her name, because, you know, it might be a sore subject for some of them. Dexter Lumis, yeah, it does. He has a good look. It's just very one note. Lumis is good, but he's kind of just, there's nothing to him other than the dead stare. Like he's actually, I prefer him in segments than in matches. You get some fun backstage segments out of him, but you know, once the bell rings, it's kind of whatever, in my opinion. But him and Gargano want to. Well, there's no tag titles to go for right now, but you know what I mean. Like if they wanted to go for tag titles in the future, that'd be okay. But him in singles matches, kind of whatever. But yeah, after the promo by Becky, just setting up the history between the two and setting up the cage match for later, Brock Lesnar comes out for a promo. Brock Lesnar, you know, he's babyface cowboy Brock, so he doesn't give a fuck. He's like, did you guys see the Royal Rumble? I thought it sucked. Pause for laughter. I thought it sucked, or at least it sucked for me, which was not like, what a great way for Brock to express his opinions while keeping kayfabe, you know? Because I'm sure he did think the Rumble sucked. Or actually, I don't know how his opinion on it, because I doubt he saw any of it besides the 2 minutes he was out there. But he cuts a promo on Bobby Lashley. Importantly, he challenges him to a match at Elimination Chamber instead of at WrestleMania. Thank fucking God, because I really want that Brock Lesnar Gunther match at WrestleMania, and I don't want Bobby Lashley versus Lesnar at all anymore, but especially at WrestleMania, where it'll just be somehow be worse because of the bigger atmosphere and stage. Lashley comes out, they brawl a bit, he doesn't sign the contract. Lesnar said I have in this $5 denim vest, I have $1 million contract for a big match at Elimination Chamber. But Lashley just talks shit instead, and they brawl, and he lays Lashley out with two F5s, more or less, maybe more. I don't really care anymore. I'm not into this feud at all, but babyface Brock is always fun. He always gets a reaction from the crowd. He cuts bad promos in such a charismatic way that they're good. And who would have thought Brock Lesnar was a promo guy? But Brock Lesnar is a promo guy. He's babyface Brock Lesnar is a promo guy, and he's pretty good at it. Pretty darn good. Uh, so hopefully that feud's done in Elimination Chamber. Candice is backstage. Gargano and Loomis come up to wish her luck in the Fatal 4-Way. Loomis painted her a picture or drew her a picture, and has a whole family. Has Johnny, Candice, the baby, their dog. And it has Nikki Cross in the background watching them. And like, what is that? And then he points out that Nikki is in the background watching them and has been in the background watching them for a while. Which, cute little detail. They always have those little things going on in the background in Triple H's backstage world. And that's it. This is it leaking from the background to the foreground. And that's interesting. That's kind of fun. Excuse me. So then we have the Fatal 4-Way match. It's pretty good. It's not bad. Better than I thought it would be. Not gonna lie, because it was like Candice versus Michin, Mia Yim, Piper Niven, and Carmella, who's back after, I believe, 7 months off after a pretty serious incident that I actually won't make fun of for once, but also because I don't entirely remember all the details, so I'll save it for another time. Maybe one day when we have Corey Graves on the podcast, or I'm on his podcast, I'll razz him about it, give him a taste of his own medicine. But for now, I'll leave it alone. Fun match. Piper Niven looked great. She was very dominant in this. Candice and Michin or whatever, they're both good wrestlers, but their portrayal isn't too great, right? Isn't she part of the OC? Where have her interactions with them been? Where are the OC of it all? I mean, I know AJ Styles is injured, but where are the Good Brothers? They left. They left TNA for this. They left potentially going back to AEW for this. They left going back to New Japan for this. And they have done nothing at all. They left for this. Anyway, Carmella continues her gimmick of winning matches that you just don't think she's going to win. That's her gimmick. That's her overarching gimmick. Carmella is very good at changing her gimmick and knowing when to mix her character up. Like, that's something we've credited her with on the podcast before, and will continue to do so. She's very good at that. But her overarching gimmick, the thread that ties it all together, is she just wins so many matches you don't think she's going to win. Like Money in the Bank, singles match against Asuka, the Women's Battle Royal at WrestleMania, the only time in Sarah Logan's career where she got a huge pop and was just taken away by Carmella. That's her gimmick, is she just wins matches. You're like, oh, I didn't think she had any business winning that match. Which is fine. Like, I don't know. How are you gonna repackage Piper Niven and not put her in the chamber? How are you not gonna have that monster to dominate the chamber? I think I'd rather have Carmella in this match than Natalia. Right, Chad? Right, Chad? But because Carmella can elicit a reaction from the crowd, whereas Natalia is just, I know it's in Canada, but like, it's not going to be a real hometown pop. That's all going to be safe for the main event of the show. But, I don't understand how you wouldn't have Piper Niven in this match. There's no knock on Carmella. Like I said, I think she should have Natalia's spot. But Yeah, it's just weird they brought her back for that, and she's not even gonna win and be in the match. And backstage, Jonathan Bradshaw Layfield breaks up with Baron Corbin after just like 2 months of being a mid card act together. Oh my god. I don't know if you guys can hear my cat crying outside. I gotta let her in and feed. So we're gonna speed through this, you guys. JBL breaks up Corbin, breaks his little heart, and in the background, the Hurt Business or MVP is talking to Cedric and Shelton, who then go to take on Alpha Academy in a fun match. But again, why would you turn Alpha Academy face just to have them lose all the time? Give them some wins. I know you're doing the Hurt Business story, but I don't want to be the guy to have to do this because I did like the Hurt Business when it was just Lashley and MVP, honestly. But it's damaged goods, man. They dropped the ball with it. They broke him up for no reason. And then Shelton and Cedric got back together with no explanation after feuding. And it's just bad. Them reuniting is actually bad. And I understand you guys think it's good because the Hurt Business was cool for like 2 months, but like it's not good. Cedric and Shelton are trying to pretend they're anything more than jobbers at this point is not great, and again, it's coming at the cost of a team that just turned babyface. Otis was more over than Cedric will ever be in his career. Like 4 weeks ago during the tag gauntlet, just why does why do we need this Hurt Business reunion? One, it's too soon. Two, it's too damaged. Three, it won't be good. Temper your expectations now. I'm sorry. I don't want to be the guy to have to tell you that, but here we are. But yeah, they won the match, which I mean, it makes sense story wise, but just give Alpha Academy some fucking wins, man. Chad Gable deserves it. Otis deserves it. These guys work so hard to keep fighting to be over when they have no right to be anymore. So give them something for it. After that, we had another thing that made no sense to me. We had the Chelsea Green match mentioned earlier, and the person that came out to squash her was Asuka, but she didn't squash her. Chelsea jumped her while Asuka was facing the other way, putting her stuff in the corner, and then just dominated for like 2 minutes. Hit like what maybe is her finisher. I actually don't know. I thought she used the Unprettier as a finisher, but I could be mistaken. And Asuka was just laid out, but all the other women from the chamber were surrounding the ring. And Chelsea took the time to gloat to all of them and talk shit. And then Asuka, after a while of being down, got up and laughed and then beat up Chelsea and made her tap. So, like, it didn't make Asuka look great. And, like, Asuka looked so badass in the Royal Rumble and was so over. And this just felt like just a step off of being a great decision. You just have Asuka kill her. You didn't need all the extra fluff around it. Right, you keep the Chelsea thing going, and then you make Asuka look great. And they didn't kill any birds with this stone. Instead of killing two birds with one stone, everyone's fine. And by that I mean everyone's not fine. Everyone looks a little worse for it. But the Chelsea thing is interesting. I think she's gonna make the character work. I just think this was a misfire, especially with the Asuka of it all. And like I said earlier, it could have just been. I would have liked having Beth Phoenix come out and just squash her in like whatever clothes she was already wearing, just to give her a win since she's about to put over Rhea Ripley. Make that uh, that extra bit of dominance for that. Is me swaying back and forth affecting the audio? I don't know. Producer boy is fucking. We'll deal with him later off screen. That's a conversation we'll have, but. So I can't tell how the audio is going, but I'm sure it's fine by now. After that, Bianca came out, cut a promo on Six Ladies. She said, when I look around the ring, I see six top tier women, six top tier competitors, and it's like, dude, Natalia's right there. You lost a lot of credibility as a top babyface with generic, sweeping generalizations like that. Like it's just come on, read the room. And I like Carmella. I would put her like right below top tier. Raquel's also right below top tier, more potential to break into the top tier. Asuka's top tier. I think Liv's are in top tier. Betsy, I'm sorry, I'll be there soon. But yeah, we got to move on. I'm running out of time. There's not much else to talk about. There's only two more things. But one of it's a big thing. What actually might take a while. Okay, let me preface this now. Kevin, anyone watching? Watch this promo between Cody Rhodes and Paul Heyman. It was beautiful. I loved it. It was fan fucking tastic. So Cody comes out and he addresses the Sami Zayn of it all. And if the goddamn the way this guy keeps skirting around getting booed for not being Sami Zayn is super impressive. Like, let's go, Cody. I want you to win a Mania, but like, I just want him to get booed a little bit. You know, I'm gonna take a sip of water in the middle of the sentence, killing all my momentum. But you're gonna have to deal with it. Ah, but yeah, he just says, "Sammy's my friend. I wish him luck, and I can understand anyone trying to avenge an injustice or you know, uh, chase the title or anything like that." He's like, Sammy has momentum. So he treats Sammy with respect as if he could be a potential opponent for Mania. But undoing everything I just said was Paul Heyman coming out to interrupt, and they have a genuine interaction and a genuine back and forth. Uh, Cody tells a story about how in the year 2000, uh, his family was broke and Dusty kind of lost almost all of his money, and they were really struggling. And Paul Heyman called him and said uh, he wants to have someone talk a little shit about Dusty, and if Dusty can appear, he would pay him and pay him well. And I didn't know this story, so but knowing Paul Heyman and the stories everyone tells about him back in those days, you think the story is going one way. You think he's going to say that Heyman didn't pay him, and that made the situation worse, and was going to fuel this anger and this disdain towards Heyman. But actually, it was the complete opposite. He kept his word, and he paid him well, and it gave Dusty the spark back, it gave him the confidence back, and uh, fast forward a few years later, Cody has the courage to rebel and start his own company. They don't say AEW, but it's implied in reference, and he's like, I had the courage to start my own company, and that company was ruined by the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, who pushed me out and then pushed out CM Punk, who we fought so hard to get from the very start of the company, and they just do it all. They just like that. Uh, or I think that's what he said anyway. I might have zoned out a little bit at that point, just over the AEW reference. But Heyman made this. Like, this was good, but Heyman perfected this segment. Heyman got teary-eyed. He got choked up. He looked at Cody and he was just smiling and laughing like, you got me. Like, you've stymied me. I'm stifled. I am rattled. I don't know what to say. Like, he actually had to gather his words and his thoughts, and he was essentially speechless, which that in and of itself basically got a standing ovation from the crowd, who took time to applaud the fact that Heyman was struggling to talk, and not in a demeaning way, and like the crowd appreciated what this was. They knew right away what this was, and they appreciated it in him, and it was just so perfect here. And then he said, with all due respect, it's not about me, and it's not about, as much as I love him, it's not about your dad. It's about you. And he tells us, he weaves this masterful web that Paul Heyman is known to do. And he ties it. I can't do it justice, which is why I told you guys to watch it. He essentially says, oh, like, your dad trained Becky Lynch, your dad trained Seth Rollins, your dad trained Bailey, and your dad trained Roman Reigns. And he made it very personal. He said Roman Dusty told me that you're his favorite son, but Roman is the son he always wanted. And Cody said, I'm just trying to win a title. Why is everyone insisting on making everything personal? So in that case, I will personally take the titles from Roman. This was fantastic. Like, this was so good. Okay. Are you like me? Are you someone who wants WWE to drop all their plans and push underdog babyface Sami Zayn into the main event like Daniel Bryan almost a decade ago, like Becky Lynch 4 or 5 years ago, like I guess Chris Benoit in 2004? I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't really watching around the time, but it's kind of similar from what I understand. Uh, are you one of those people that want the company to push our guy and not their guy? Well, if you are, have I got a solution for you? Have I got a product for you? Have I got something to sell you? And that's Cody Rhodes. Because, god damn it, he has done a great job of navigating this fucking minefield that is the Sami Zayn of it all. This promo was so good that I don't disagree with the decision for Cody and Roman to be the main event and for Sami to just stick with the tag title direction that this is clearly going in and like it was always destined to go in. I That is the right decision. I don't love it, but it's so good and it is clearly the right decision. This master if this is just the table setter of this feud, I can only imagine how good it's gonna get. Because they still haven't interacted yet. And if I'm WWE, I say don't have them interact till after the chamber, because the Sami Zayn of it all. And I'm sure that's probably what they're going for because they're doing a great job of navigating this so far. Uh, but yeah, this was so good that the end the end point of Sami Roman is at Elimination Chamber, but the end point of Sami and the Bloodline is at WrestleMania. Uh, and I think we're gonna head down a path where Cody dethrones Roman, Sami and KO dethrone the Usos, and then Sami convinces Jay to leave the Bloodline, and Jay finally gets his redemption on Roman, and that's how the Bloodline truly, truly crumbles. Uh, and that's worth it, and that'll be worth it. And all the doubts I had, and all the doubts we all have, they continue to subdue them and quell them and prove that Cody is the right choice. And like I said, I just want him to get booed a little bit because I think he deserves it for leaving AEW because he was getting booed so much. And I know that's not exactly why he left, but like, dude couldn't turn fucking heel there, and he left. Like, there's valid reasons to be bitter at him for that stuff, but it's not like I'm still rooting for him. He's still one of my favorites, and I still want him to win the title. I just want him to get booed just a smidge. But yeah, you're right. That's basically what I'm getting at. They're creating stars here. They're wrapping up so many stories, so many good things coming to come out of this. Because Sammy is going to be great. Uh, Jay's potentially going to be fantastic after all this, and yeah, and then Cody's going to win the title. Yeah, it took Vince years to create one. Yeah. Well, we got to give him some credit for Cody of it all because this was also Vince's plan. So it's not like this is a Triple H thing. I think I like the Rock shit, bro. Get out of here. It was gonna be Cody. I don't care. Uh, great, great promo. The fact that if this promo ends the Royal Rumble stuff, uh, haven't made you accept the fact that Sammy is not gonna be the one to dethrone Roman at Mania. Like, I don't know what will. This stuff has been so good. I think the bloodline is a Roman thing more so. But I see what you mean. Like, I think Heyman is uh, the guy weaving a lot of the webs behind the scenes. So I guess I see what you mean. But yeah, good fucking stuff. The segment ruled. It was probably the best thing on the show. Yeah, if I put this then the cage match, then the opening segment maybe. I don't know. A lot of nothing on the show, but the good really was good. Um, and after that, we did Montez Ford versus Elias for the last spot in the U.S. title chamber match. And Austin Theory was on commentary. He was really bad. It's funny. I wanted to say they should have just cut this match entirely and gave the rest of the time to the cage match, but I don't. I mean, I'm happy Ford's going to get his time to shine in the chamber, and I think that's going to be fun. I think you could do a good spot where he is the last guy in the chamber, and then Theory wins, but you give him that like that little bit of hope. No, yeah, I like that people have to earn their spots in the chamber. I just don't love that it's for the U.S. title. Um, yeah, they pick and choose when to do it. Sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't. I actually like the way they did it with the women, where they gave it to like the people who were the last four in the Rumble, and then did qualifiers for that. But yeah, Montez beat Elias because, of course, he did because Elias is a, Elias was great, but then we realized he had a younger, more talented brother. It's like, do we want you anymore? We want the next generation. We don't need Elias. Yeah, that was pretty much the show. Do you guys have any thoughts, overall thoughts, opinions, fun facts related to wrestling or not? I don't really care. But I'd give the show probably like an 82 out of 99. It's pretty good. It was a B minus type of show. Cage match was fun. The Cody promo was amazing. The Fatal 4 was kind of fun. Dom and Finn are great. And yeah, there's just stuff to look forward to. The Road WrestleManias, we got a little bit more there. We had the fun return of Lena. It's pretty high. I don't know. It's arbitrary, man. The numbers are arbitrary. They don't mean anything, you know? Maybe it's an 82 because last week was like a 71, maybe better than Raw 30. Hmm. I know because you have the tribunal court and that segment. That was a segment of the year. We can call that now. I know it's only February 6th, but I don't think there's going to be a better segment than that. So I would say it wasn't better than that. Although, they both had advertised cage matches, but only one of the shows had the cage match, I guess. So I guess you go either way with that. But yeah, fun show. I'm excited for next week. What do you guys think? Did you like Raw? Is WWE better than AEW? Is New Japan better than NXT? Is Impact still a show? Do you guys have opinions on anything like music or movies, books, life? Which city has the best bus and subway system? Which airports are your favorite? What kind of sauce do you get when you go to Buffalo Wild Wings? Uh, what's your favorite animal? If you're a basic bitch and you're a dog person, cool. I feel like that just means that you don't take no for an answer, or you don't like being told no because, you know, uh, that's what having a cat is having to have permission, you know. Granted, man is playing Fortnite. Who's playing Fortnite? I'm better than James. Yeah, but in what regard? I mean, I feel like in any regard I am, but like if you want to get specific, we can get specific into it. Beard wise, my beard is like normal, whereas his beard makes him look like a cartoon character. My hair is kind of normal, and his hair makes him look like a cartoon character. Um, I don't wear wrestling shirts to review wrestling every single week because we're already reviewing wrestling. I feel like what more do you need? You know? Um, he might be a better rapper than me. That's about it. Which, look out for that rap. It's coming soon, apparently. Can you win in the hair category? I mean, if it's me versus James, I don't see how you can win in it, but um, I'm gonna say no because I feel like all you do is do you just grow your hair out? You don't even do you have a style? Do you get cut? Like, I get like I haven't got a haircut in like 2 weeks, but I get my sides cut, I get an undercut, or sometimes I get a fade. Do you know what a fade is, Eric? Or do you just grow your hair out because you're afraid of barbers? Is it like that kind of deal? What else? I mean, James is a great pet owner, but I just beat everyone in that regard on the best pet owner. Um, you put your hair through it. All your hair does is sit there and grow. What is it being put through? You do the opposite of putting your hair through it. I don't know your hair routine, so you might actually put it up. Wrap it up. No, it doesn't matter, man. We're just chatting. This was a short show, man. I put my hair through it. That's enough. Wrap it up. I met my hand. Cool. Cool. Hey, at least I'm reading your chats as they're coming up. All right. When else do you get that? All right. Everyone else ignores you. I'm here giving you a voice, amplifying it. But anyway, have a good night, people. Be nice to animals. Don't drink and drive. Blah, blah, blah. I just don't care.